Well, good morning. Welcome to what I'm hoping is like a big day on our solar project.
We've had a lot of big days.
We've had a lot of big days leading up to today. So today we need to get a lot of stuff done. So, solar charge controller.
I love how you always say we.
I'm just being inclusive.
Oh.
You're here to cheer us on.
Woohoo!
So today we need to get done install the solar charge controller, the inverter, a breaker, a transfer switch, add a new outlet, and wire everything in. It's a big day. Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about this, but piece by piece, we've been getting it done. So fingers crossed, for good luck. Today, I think I only need to remove the stove. So I think I'm done wiring up here, so I can leave all of this alone, and the stove will come out. At some point I'll take the sink out too, just it's a matter of convenience.
And because we're getting a new faucet again.
Somewhere in the background of all of this, I think I told you, I'll change it. Personal pronouns changes.
No royal we in this.
Yeah. Noelle doesn't want any part of this. So I thought, since I took the sink out because I wanted easier access to the wiring under here, I thought, we've had this drippy sink for about a year, and I've tightened it. I've tried to take it apart to get to the gaskets and whatnot unsuccessfully. I thought, let's just buy a new one. I'll be under here. So we went to an RV store nearby, and they're like, hey, we've got this used section. And there was a really nice faucet for $20. Okay, $20, we can do it. Sucker dripped and dripped and dripped. Okay, I've just paid $20 for someone else's problem. So we took it back, the next day, and they said to us, oh my gosh, we were so worried, oh no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. First time we took it back, they're like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. We have another one exactly like it. We'll give it to you. Okay, we brought that one back here, plugged it in. That one didn't drip, that one gushed.
It was a gully washer.
Gully washer, yeah. So that was number 2.
Our counter is clean now.
Yeah. So we took that back, and they said, oh, we had nightmares about you guys having problems with the second one.
Yeah, the owner.
Yeah. So they said, we're going to give you a new one. They gave us one that was...
Said it was new out of the box, but then somebody messed with it.
I did not see it come out of a box, so
well,
I'm not
that's
convinced.
What they said.
Yeah. So we put in the third one, and...
But before you put it in, you messed with it.
I checked the third one to see if the cartridge would fit into the second one that was already installed, and it would not. So, third one, it was like a torrential waterfall coming out of it. So, I officially said F it to dealing with anything that has a hint of being used. Yesterday we went to Camping World. That was a bust. Their selection was horrible.
There was no selection. Yeah. It was just a tiny little parts department.
Yeah. From there we went to Home Depot, and we bought a standard residential set, and then I was trying to piece it together, the parts that I needed to make it work with our connections. We ended up going to a plumbing store where they were like, get the out. They saw that we had a Delta product, and they were like,
no, Glacier Bay.
Oh, Glacier Bay.
It's a Home Depot exclusive, which I did not know until we went to the plumbing store.
So one guy
He was real snooty.
He walked away from us.
No, he walked away from our faucet.
Yeah.
But the other guy was nice.
What they said was, it was really weird because it's like a plumbing store. They were like, no, we're not going to have anything to help you.
He points out the window. Is it for that thing?
Yeah. So he sent us down to another RV shop.
Which we didn't know about, so that was good.
So we went to another RV place, and we ended up just kicking the it bucket, and we just bought a brand new one.
Yeah.
So today, while I'm doing
a brand new one, it costs $175. Yeah. That was the only choice.
Yeah. I'm chalking the $20 fee that we paid for the other one. It's gone. That was payment to me, or payment I made for a lesson learned. Trust me, I will never ever again pick up something like that. I will never ever again pick up something like that, like plumbing related, from like a scratch and dent section.
Yeah,
I know
for
better.
sure.
You know better. I did it because I was greedy.
No,
honestly,
because
yes, I did. No, it was greed. It was
Okay.
a really nice faucet.
It's
I said I could have that for $20.
I know, but the other part of that is it's the only RV shop in town, and we had to drive 40 minutes to go to the other places yesterday. So the other part is that we're in a small town and there's one RV place. They had no new ones and they only had the $20 used ones. Now, they didn't think there was a problem with them because they just took them out of other RVs and replaced them. I don't know why you would do that. These are like $180, $200 faucets, so it's beautiful. But I don't think it was being greedy. I think it was, that's all there was at the time. Like, there was nothing else. Sure, I'd love to have a great faucet for 20 bucks, but...
All of that brings us to this morning. I'm going to start, once again, tearing apart in the kitchen area, and Noelle is going to head off and pick up our new faucet. And sometime later today, we'll install the new faucets.
No, I think I'm going to install it.
I think it's time for you to learn how to do this shit.
I know how to do it.
Then it's time for you to fucking do it.
You're the one who wouldn't let me. I said I would do it.
All right, so it sounds like Noelle on camera has just made a commitment that she's installing the faucet today. So something for us to look forward to. Hopefully some electrical done and some plumbing work done as well. I was a bit surprised the other day, for the most part actually, how easy it was to take out the stove. Yeah, that's what I say right before I start doing this on camera. Alright, I'm going to turn off the gas. So I turned off the gas, and actually I took it a step further and I disconnected the gas line. This is our gas line. We have gas coming into the stove. Here's a brass fitting. I can just back off the fitting and then the stove should come forward. We have connections over here. The other day I just cut them and taped them up, but during our travels I picked up some tiny little wire nuts, and when I'm done today I'll put the wire nuts on here for a more permanent fitting. Did you hear that little gas hissing out? Not exactly a comforting sound. Disconnect my wiring. So these are the two wires the other day I taped up, and then today when I'm done I will go ahead and wire nut these off, a little more permanent. But I had to cut these so I could actually get the stove to slide out. I put the inverter in here the other night. Really what I wanted to do was to verify that the inverter would fit underneath the stove, and then try to start getting some ideas about placement on the stove, or placement for the unit itself. So I'm trying to consider placement of this unit for, one, ease of reset in case I need to reset it, and then two, wiring coming out. So I'm going to come out, wiring will come out back here, and it's headed for the transfer switch. But I have more wiring coming in here, which would be my solar charge controller. So really it's just trying to move things around in a way that works, honestly, the easiest for install, but as well, what will work the best down the road if I need to actually physically do like a hard reset on these. They had assured me that placement was not an issue, that all of these are just like, I can do a reset through Bluetooth. For me, too many years in the electronic industry where, yeah, the best intention, the best case is you always do a reset remotely, but sometimes you end up having to actually physically throw a switch on and off. And with our current orientation, the only way I would be able to physically throw a switch would be to remove the oven, which just does not seem like a long-term good viable solution. So I'm going to move things around here and kind of see what it looks like. All right, here's my thinking. I've got my solar charge controller over here, inverter here. I need to add in this breaker. So I'm thinking the breaker I may actually put inside the battery compartment, facing like this way. I think we're going to give that a whirl. All right, here we go. Can you hear like the confidence in my voice? Yeah. Some of it also has to do, really, I got, I think, 15 feet. If I had 20 feet, I'd be more confident that I have room for air, but this gives me like no freaking room for air. All right, going in. Something I noticed as far as the connections on here go. Yesterday when I was on the roof, the connections I was doing in that box, I would tighten down and you could see like there was a bolt or whatever that was threading down to tighten up. This, let me show you. So you can see when I'm tightening this, it's actually like a little, the whole unit, whatever we want to call it, connector is coming up. So just a little different. Thought you might be interested in seeing it. So what I'm working off right now, I have this schematic from AM Solar, and it's telling me, you know, this lead goes here, this line goes here. So that's what I'm following. I'm not like making it up as I go. Well, that's not true. I'm making up a lot of this as I go, as far as where to run the lines. As far as the connections, that's very much defined by the schematic they gave me. I'm just not loving this connection, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off and we'll do it again. It's been about an hour and a half since we last talked. I am I'm struggling mightily with this. I did not have enough 6 AWG wire. I didn't have enough length. So I was going to just kind of like screw it. I'll just do it with the extra 10 feet I bought of 2 AWG. Then I was like, oh, I just don't know that I have enough of my connectors. So I asked Noelle, she was out picking up the faucet, to pick up another 10 feet of AWG 6 and then 6 more lugs, and hopefully that will be enough to see us through. I'd say my frustration with the company we bought all of this from is just really high. Yeah, but I'll stop bitching and get back to work. So I'm putting in the fuse back here. This is a big ass fuse. It's 150 amp. One of the challenges of this project is, I think in some ways, I know, this is, the expectation is like you're working from your home garage on this. So there's, I think, some assumptions made, like on the manufacturer side. Like in this case, yeah, the 150 amp fuse is great, but I need to secure it down to the floor. And they didn't give me any screws to make that connection. So the assumption is that you have screws on your own. Luckily, I picked up a box, so yes, I have some screws. But that's just, yeah, I know the realities of this. So what I'm trying to do right now is stay busy while I'm waiting for Noelle to come back, since I realized I didn't have enough line, enough 6 AWG to make the connections where I needed to make them. I'm kind of jumping ahead in my plans here, which honestly I'm not really crazy about doing, but I can't really just spend my whole time here with my thumb up my ass. So now I'll run the next line. Will go from here, goes out. So I'll do that. Would you like to give us your impressions?
Well, I went and picked up a faucet and I came back to sheer chaos, controlled chaos. So right now I'm sitting up in my quiet little nest and doing some work. I think Steve has it under control, and I trust him to do a good job for us.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.
One of the parts that I noticed that I had that was not listed on my schematic, or shown on the schematic, is a transfer case. So I was asking the folks, AM Solar, like, hey, what the heck is this? So I guess for whatever reason, it just didn't get added to my schematic. So then they sent me a schematic, and I was like, I wasn't following. So they sent me like another schematic. Then I was like, oh, I kind of get it, but I don't have any of the wire for this. So what they told me to do was to go out and buy my own extension cable, and then cut up the extension cable to make it work. So I've got input. This will be coming in from like house power. Then my output load, I'm going to run this to a brand new outlet I'm going to put over here. So I guess this is just another step in the process today. This is a lot of connections. I prefer doing like 1 or 2 connections at a time, just for the sake of troubleshooting. This, when I'm all done, I'm going to have like 30 connections. So as I'm going through this, I'm checking and like double checking and triple checking my connections against the schematic. But we've all seen with like the batteries how well I do with schematics, so I'll dive into this now. I think that you and I will just need to have an agreement that we will not discuss how long it just took me to wire up this transfer station. This may have taken an embarrassingly long amount of time, but I do have it wired now. I cut the extension cord essentially in half. I run each half here. I'm going to plug this into the inverter, and then I will plug the other end into, this goes into the inverter. This guy on the left, I'm going to make a new receptacle, and this one will go to house power. So that's my next step. It's been a few hours. I've moved on to the circuit panel. So while we were away from each other, I wired in a new outlet, and now you can see the cord back there. Now I'm about to wire in the 30 amp. So I just pulled the breaker, and I'm going to wire it, and I will disconnect the wires that were already there from whatever we had here before. Okay, so after a lot of work, oh, it's hard to see down here if I get my shadow. So 30 amp breaker here. I pulled the breaker, took the wire off that was already on it, added the new wire coming out of my yellow jacket, whatever it is. I think it's just a 20 amp. No, this is 12 gauge, a 12 gauge extension cord that I've hacked up. So black, replace the existing black, white, replace the existing white, and ground, replace the existing ground for this circuit. So what was coming into here, so I cut it, pulled it back, and taped it off. So now I'll kind of do this in reverse and put this whole thing back away. All right, looks like we have power.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. So it's getting late. I'm going to install the sink, and we'll call it good. It's been a few hours since I gave you an update. Truth be told, I'm not really in the mood to give you an update right now, but I kind of figured maybe that's the best time to give you an update. So you don't get a sanitary version. So I'm pissed off right now.